The oil fields never sleep, and neither do the secrets buried deep beneath them. Every drop of crude is worth a fortune, but in Landman, fortunes are never free. They are paid for in sweat, betrayal, and blood. Season 2 is almost here, but before we step into the firestorm, let's remember where everything began. Season 1 of Landman threw us straight into the heart of Texas, where the land is rich in oil but poor in peace. We followed a world where money, power, and survival were tied to the drilling rigs that dig deeper than most men's consciences. From the very first episode, it was clear this wasn't just a story about oil, it was a story about people who would do anything to claim it. At the center stood Tommy Norris, a roughneck trying to balance his family life with the ruthless demands of the oil industry. He wasn't the kind of man who looked for trouble, but trouble always found him. The deeper Tommy got into the business, the more he realized that oil doesn't just fuel engines, it fuels greed, corruption, and danger. By the end of the season, Tommy was no longer just a worker. He was caught in a storm where every decision could cost him everything. Beside him were characters with their own scars and ambitions. There was Don, the powerful landman who had his hands in every deal, no matter how dirty. His influence reached across boardrooms and drilling sites, pulling strings that no one else could see. Then came the young dreamers, chasing quick money, not realizing how heavy the cost of that money would be. Some lost their way in addictions, others in betrayals, and some lost their lives. But the story wasn't just about men. Women in this world carried just as much weight, sometimes more. They were mothers, daughters, and wives, watching as the industry tore through families like a storm through a field. Some stood by their loved ones, others chose to fight back, and a few found themselves making impossible choices to protect what little they had left. Season 1 wasn't afraid to show the dirty side of the oil boom. Communities were split, friendships were broken, and promises were shattered. The clash wasn't just about money, it was about survival. And in a world where the land itself seemed to scream from all the drilling, the people above it screamed even louder. By the final episodes, everything was on edge. Deals had gone wrong, trust had been broken, and the future was more uncertain than ever. The rigs still stood tall, pumping black gold from the ground, but every character had been changed by what they had gone through. Some had gained power, some had lost everything, and some had learned that the oil business doesn't forgive weakness. And then came the cliffhangers, moments that left us all wondering what would happen next. Tommy stood at a crossroads, forced to choose between family and the dangerous path that could secure his future. Don's empire looked strong, but cracks were showing, and enemies were circling. The people around them were left asking themselves one question: how much were they willing to sacrifice for a piece of the oil dream? The first episode of Landman Season 2 wastes no time. It throws us back into the dirt, the dust, and the fire of the oil fields. From the very first scene, it is clear this is not just a continuation, it's a whole new battle. The calm we thought might come after the chaos of Season 1 never arrives. Instead, the story opens with pressure, political pressure, financial pressure, and personal pressure that weigh heavy on every character. Tommy finds himself pulled deeper into the game. He thought he could step back, protect his family, and keep his hands clean. But the oil industry doesn't let anyone walk away. The premiere makes it clear Tommy is now a key player, whether he likes it or not. He's not just another roughneck working the rigs. He's a man standing at the center of deals, betrayals, and promises that are already starting to crack. The choices he makes now will not only decide his future, but the future of everyone around him. Don, the man who seemed untouchable in Season 1, returns with even more power but also more enemies. In the opening episode, we see his influence reach higher than ever. Politicians lean on him, corporations want his approval, and workers both fear and need him. But power attracts vultures. For the first time, we see Don face threats from both inside his circle and outside it. The premiere teases us with whispers of betrayal, and it is clear Don's empire might not be as unshakable as it once seemed. The oil fields themselves almost feel like a character in this new season. Fires burn hotter, explosions strike without warning, and every rig carries the weight of both opportunity and danger. Episode 1 shows us that this season won't just be about deals behind closed doors, it will be about the raw, dangerous work that keeps the industry alive. And with danger comes tragedy. Early in the episode, a shocking event on a drilling site reminds us all no one is safe. But it's not only business and accidents shaping the story. Family ties pull tighter, and sometimes snap under the strain. Tommy's home life is tested like never before. Promises he made to protect his loved ones now seem harder to keep. The oil money may build futures, but it also tears them apart. In this first episode, we see just how thin the line is between holding on and letting everything slip away, and then there are the newcomers. Season 2 doesn't just bring back familiar faces, it introduces new ones who immediately stir the pot. Fresh investors step onto the scene, their eyes sharp, their wallets heavy, and their loyalties uncertain. Some come as allies, others as enemies, but all of them bring fresh conflict. The premiere hints that these new players will not just change the balance of power, they may completely rewrite the rules of the game. By the end of episode 1, it becomes clear no one is safe from the storm that's building. Old grudges rise again. New deals are made in the shadows, and trust is more fragile than ever. The land is full of riches, but also full of traps. Every character is walking on ground that could give way at any moment. The final moments of the premiere leave viewers on edge. A shocking decision, a dangerous secret revealed, and a question that hangs heavy over the entire season. When everything you've built rests on oil, what happens when the ground beneath you starts to crack? Every great story needs new blood, and Season 2 of Landman doesn't hold back. The first episode makes it clear new characters are stepping into the game, and their arrival changes everything. These aren't simple background players. They come with power, secrets, and motives that shake the balance of the oil fields. The moment they arrive, you can feel the ground shift beneath the old characters, as if the rules they thought they knew no longer apply. One of the most striking newcomers is a wealthy investor from out of state. A figure who sees the Texas oil boom not as a community, but as a business to be stripped bare and rebuilt for profit. This outsider brings money, influence, and arrogance in equal measure. From his very first scene, he makes it clear he's not here to play fair. He's here to take control. His presence puts immediate pressure on Don, who is used to being the biggest player in town. The tension between them sets up a dangerous power struggle that is sure to explode as the season unfolds. But not all new faces come with money. Some arrive with grit. Episode 1 introduces fresh workers on the rigs, young and desperate, chasing dreams they barely understand. These men and women carry the same hunger we saw in Season 1, but this time the stakes are higher. The industry is harsher, the risks deadlier, and the promises emptier. Through them, the show reminds us that for every man who strikes it rich, 100 more are left broken. Their stories are small sparks now, but you can already feel one of those sparks will grow into a fire that changes everything. Among the most surprising additions is a woman tied to the land itself, a landowner with deep roots in Texas and an even deeper anger at what the oil industry has done to her family. She is sharp, fearless, and unwilling to back down. Her arrival is more than personal. It's political. She challenges both the investors and the roughnecks, forcing everyone to face questions they'd rather bury. Her character feels like a storm front, quiet at first, but destined to unleash chaos across the season. The new characters don't just bring conflict, they bring mystery. Episode 1 teases secrets that stretch beyond the oil field's dark connections to politics, hidden deals with foreign players, and personal grudges that run deeper than any well. Every time one of these newcomers speaks, you're left wondering, are they allies, or are they enemies waiting for the perfect moment to strike? And then there are the twists. The premiere makes sure viewers understand nothing is simple anymore. A deal that looks solid collapses in an instant. A friendship turns sour. A character we trusted in Season 1 suddenly shows a darker side. By the halfway point of the episode, it's clear this season isn't just continuing the story, it's rewriting it. One of the most powerful twists comes near the end of Episode 1, when a long-buried secret rises to the surface. It doesn't just threaten one man's future, it threatens to tear apart the fragile network holding the entire oil community together. It's the kind of revelation that doesn't fade quietly. It spreads like a crack through glass, reaching everyone and hinting at a much bigger disaster waiting in the shadows. The heart of Landman has always been more than oil. Beneath the rigs, the pipelines, and the backroom deals, it's a story about people, their families, their dreams, their betrayals, and their survival. Season 2 takes these themes and sharpens them like steel. From the first episode, we see that the struggle isn't only about money or power. It's about identity. It's about what kind of person you become when the land you walk on is soaked in both oil and sacrifice. One of the strongest themes this season is family versus ambition. Tommy's life shows us how fragile that balance is. In episode 1, he faces choices that force him to weigh his family's safety against the promises of wealth and influence. Every step forward in the oil game pulls him further away from the people he loves. It's a cruel test that many characters in Landman must face. Do you protect your family, or do you chase the dream that might destroy them? Another theme running through the premiere is loyalty and betrayal. Trust is currency in this world, and in Season 2, it's worth less than ever. Episode 1 wastes no time reminding us that alliances can shift in a heartbeat. A friend can become an enemy, and an enemy can suddenly look like an ally. The tension in the story comes not just from explosions and drilling accidents, but from whispered conversations, broken promises, and knives hidden behind backs. The season also digs into the cost of survival. The new characters remind us that the oil boom is not just opportunity, it is also exploitation. Fresh workers arrive desperate for a chance, but they quickly learn that survival comes at a price. Some pay with their health, others with their dignity, and a few with their lives. Episode 1 makes it clear that in this world, nothing is given freely. Every victory takes something from someone else, and then there's the land itself. Season 2 paints the oil fields as both a blessing and a curse. The rigs bring wealth, but they scar the earth. Communities thrive, but they also fracture. The landowners, the workers, the investors, all of them are fighting for control, but none of them can truly tame the ground beneath their feet. The land is alive in this story, and it demands a price for every drop of oil taken from it. The suspense in the premiere builds carefully, scene by scene. A rig accident shakes the workers. A secret conversation hints at betrayal. A deal struck in confidence begins to crumble before it's even signed. Each moment feels like a warning that bigger disasters are waiting just around the corner. The tension grows like a storm cloud, heavy and dark, until the final moments of the episode deliver a strike of lightning that changes everything. The ending leaves us with a sense of both fear and excitement. We see Tommy staring at a choice he cannot escape. We see Dawn, more powerful than ever, but surrounded by shadows that threaten to close in. We see the newcomers, smiling as they step deeper into the chaos, ready to burn the old rules to the ground. And we see the oil fields themselves, blazing with fire and greed, promising that this season will not be calm, it will be war. That is the promise of Season 2. Bigger risks, darker secrets, and choices that cut deeper than ever before. It's not just about who will make money, it's about who will survive. The trailer makes one thing clear. In this world, power doesn't last, loyalty doesn't hold, and nothing stays buried forever. Season 2 of Landman isn't just a continuation, it's an escalation. From the very first episode, we're reminded that this world is built on fragile foundations. Every deal is a gamble, every friendship a test, and every family caught in the crossfire of ambition. The premiere sets the stage for a season where the stakes are higher, the betrayals are sharper, and the battles are more personal than ever before. What makes this season so powerful is not just the fire and explosions, it's the choices. Choices that force characters to decide between loyalty and survival, love and ambition, truth and lies. These aren't decisions made lightly, and as we've seen, every choice has a cost. The oil fields don't forgive mistakes, and they don't forget secrets. The new characters bring with them more than fresh faces, they bring disruption. Their presence is a reminder that nothing stays still in Texas. The power balance is shifting, and with every shift comes danger. Who will rise, And who will fall? That's the question hanging over every scene, but what truly grips us is the uncertainty. We don't know who will betray whom. We don't know who will survive the season, or who will be swallowed by the very land they're fighting for. And that's the brilliance of Landman. It keeps us guessing, keeps us doubting, and keeps us watching. The first episode ends with promises unspoken and threats unshaken. It dares us to keep watching, to see how far these characters will go when pushed to their limits. Will Tommy protect his family, or lose them to the chaos of ambition? Will Don hold on to his empire, or watch it collapse beneath him? Will the newcomers change the game forever, or be crushed by it? One thing is certain, this season will test every character in ways they never imagined. And it will test us too, pulling us deeper into the storm of greed, loyalty, and power. So, prepare yourself. Landman Season 2 Episode 1 is not just a sneak peek into the oil fields, it's a warning of what's to come. The storm is breaking, the fire is spreading, and the ground is shaking. This season will not wait for anyone, and neither should you, because in the oil fields nothing stays buried. Not the past, not the truth, and certainly not the cost of ambition. Landman Season 2 is coming, and when it does, the only question left will be, who's strong enough to survive?